Great defeaters, new and old. Welcome back to another episode of The Breakdown with your host, BaseDaKID. Tony is here. He's backstage. I think he is watching football and some other stuff. Dani Glover will be joining me shortly. So, we will speak about that very, very soon. But shout out to everyone who is in attendance. Appreciate you. Yes, there was no Monday Night Smoke yesterday, as you guys know. It was the premiere of Supercell taking place on Netflix. Your guy Travis, he's starring in that, so he was at the premiere for that. I obviously was doing a 9 night, so I was unavailable. KG, I think he was at the premiere as well. I'm not sure, but so I'm sure they probably might give you another live stream of the Undefeated podcast. But look out for future future updates on that one. But decided to start the show half an hour later today, just so I know the football probably will finish around about 1:45. But anyone who wanted to kind of watch the game can kind of watch that. From all intents and purposes of what I've seen, it looks very lackluster, and it looks like England doing England things yet again. So maybe your best setup to be over here anyway. But shout out to people in the chat. Let me just see who's all right. Dani Glover is in the building. Let me bring him in real quick. Shout out. Man like Glover. Turn your camera.
Hold on.
There we go. How's your day been, sir? You been all right?
Yeah, man, I've been all right. Not too bad at all.
Good stuff. Yeah, man, today's been okay. It's been a bit of a long day, but you know how it goes. Let me just go. I'm gonna go quickly into the people in the chat, and then we'll get this started. All right, so Untraceable's #1 today. So shout out to you, Philip Answer, #2. Happy New Year as always. Jonah 31, salute. Starfox WR45E, and these man show up for work. Shout out. Now, to be fair, the others, they had a good reason for not showing up yesterday. We'll give them their dues. Clyde, shout out to you, Clyde, each and every time. Dispect 87, it looks like a new commenter. I haven't seen the name before, but shout out to you. Thank you very much for being here. And I'm Trace, Tony's probably still watching football. Yeah, Tony can't multitask. So I mean, me and Danny know all too well. Tony is not able to multitask. He gets easily distracted. Cola Bello, shout out.
I'm not having that.
We must stay focused, brothers. We must stay focused.
You're out of order.
Yeah, okay. Stay blessed, B-Roll. Shout out to you. Skylander, the editor. All right, cool. Yeah, so that's pretty much everyone in the building. So salute. So as you guys just saw there, Tony will jump in from time to time, I guess, to give his 2 pence on the fights that he did watch. I'm not sure how many he did. Dan the man, hardest working guy on Twitter. Shout out to you, Mr. SE15 himself. Now, Danny, you would know this better than me, right? Tony ended up in Birmingham. Was he at the event? And if so, why was he in Birmingham if he wasn't going for the event?
He was in Birmingham. He wasn't at any of the events. He was in Birmingham. It was for like a father's there's like a think tank group of fathers and stuff that I'm involved in on Telegram. And he's involved in. So it was a meeting up there because we've got members from like the Midlands and up north. All the meetings have been in London, so they decided they were either going to go to Brighton or to Birmingham. And I said that I'm going to be in Birmingham that weekend. Then I kind of coaxed them to come up, and then so we met up with the Midlands lot, and there was even someone who come from Derby, someone from Leeds as well come down as well. So yeah, it was one of them meetups we had in Handsworth. So yeah, he went back because he had to be home for midnight like Cinderella, because he had um, prior engagements. You know, I remember there was a famous line he even said, "Yeah, we got to go in 15 minutes," and I just started singing, "And I got it 15 minutes, and I gotta get up in it. I don't know time to go. I'm on the time for love." For those who remember the 90s, you know, them little slow jam tunes there. So yeah, Tony Cox, man. Yeah, that's
All
what he
right.
said.
Fair enough. Well, thank you for the heads up. Because when I saw the group, I thought, oh, like, when is he coming? I didn't know that was happening. But all right, cool. Shout out to him. So I don't really want to go too long today. I want to start very, very briefly, and I know we normally like to do a big fight, then we do everything else, and then you kind of go to the finale. But I just want to start very briefly with a little word on the Lyndon Arthur Liam Cameron fight and performance. I want your take, because honestly I know that you probably watched it a bit more intently than I did. While I was watching, I was kind of just, I wasn't paying attention in the way that I would normally for events, and that just goes to show not having any promotion from Channel 5 about the Wasserman card in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, let me know what you kind of thought about it.
Yeah, it wasn't really promoted that well, but I was keeping an eye, obviously, for obvious reasons. As you said, I would have been watching more intently. So yeah, going into it, I thought, because Liam Cameron, he'd been out for a while, very good amateur back in the day, I remember. But he kind of went down the Scott Fitzgerald sort of path of life, got involved in a lot of drink and drugs and stuff like that. So it was his comeback fight after some time. So I thought that Lyndon would probably stop and be a good fight for him to come back to. But it ended up being a very tough night's work for Lyndon, where Liam Cameron, he hurt Lyndon to the body in the early rounds, won quite a few of the early rounds, to be fair. Lyndon started coming back into it, was more aggressive than usual. Frank combinations normally just likes to sort of jab and move, but he was sort of forced to sort of unleash some combinations. And then Liam Cameron slowed up down the stretch, and that's when Lyndon started to take over, and I had him just edging it at the end. Some people had Liam Cameron actually winning it, funny enough, I got told. One judge had it 97-91, where I don't know where that came from. That's crazy. So yeah, even Lyndon said that he thought he just about edged it, so he probably thought he got it by a round. But yeah, Liam Cameron, he's put himself in the shop window to get himself some good domestic fights in the future. For Lyndon, I'm not sure. I know there's rumours of him fighting Dan Aziz next, and I don't know, some stuff like that. There's talks of that, but I'm sure you're gonna, because I've heard your opinion, so I'm gonna let you get your piece out. But yeah, I'll let you explain it.
Pause.
Yeah,
Very, very, very pause. Very pause.
Oh, sorry. Right, no puffy, no puffy, no puffy.
Look, before anything, right, let me just say this. One thing I will respect about Lyndon is he at least acknowledges that scorecard was trash. He's like, I know I didn't win the fight by that wide of a margin, which I think, yeah, it was like 98-91 or 97-92 or something like that.
97-91.
Was it 97-91?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, how did he get 2 points taken off?
He got a point off.
I know he got a point deducted.
Yeah, so they must have scored a draw round, some. I don't know what happened there.
No, then there must have been a round where they gave it as a 10-8 as well, if it's a 97-91. But anyway, irrelevant, because ultimately it was just, again, as you saw me put up online, like Lyndon Arthur he makes hard work of every single fight. I've never seen him I've never watched every single one of his fights, but I've seen enough of them. I've never seen him in a fight where either he's just in cruise control the whole time, he's putting on a master class, or like he's just dominating and then stops the guy. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I'm saying I've not seen it. But then He's like, every time I see him in a fight against people that he's supposed to be theoretically levels above, he just always looks like hard work. He always ends up getting trapped on the ropes, always ends up like maybe taking a barrage of shots he ain't supposed to really be taking. Always looks like he has to basically dig down and find this third and fourth gear from somewhere at times. And it just always looks like a struggle. And I don't understand why, because the talent in that gym, and obviously Pat Bat being a very, very good coach, you're not supposed to be laboring to these kind of decisions against, let's be fair, okay, Liam Cameron, very good amateur, but been out of the ring over 4 years. Like, came down, he had to lose, like, wasn't it 4.5 stone or something like that? He was doing marathons to try and lose the weight because he ballooned up and put on, like, 8 stone or something like that, 4 to 8 stone. You're not supposed to be having hard nights work with someone like that when you're someone that's still actively living the life, supposedly. So yeah, I mean, not to say that I had much stock left in Lyndon Arthur's career, but it's really not going anywhere substantial. So whether it's Dan Aziz, whether it's Malik Zanad, as I had said that I would like to see next, seeing as both of them lost to Bivol within the last 8 months, that seems like a nice little get back. And obviously I know that Zanad, they did His Excellency did say that he will put him on the card in October, on the undisputed card. So yeah, let him fight Lyndon Arthur on there, and then literally have it as a I don't know, loser leaves town. Not necessarily you got to retire, but yeah, there's no more high profile the fights. There's no more main event slots or whatever. So you wanted to say something, Dan?
Yeah, no, yeah. The reason why it was that score is because remember, Lyndon got a point off in the second for punching after the bell, way after the bell, and Liam Cameron got one off in the sixth for rabbit punching. But also, I wanted to mention that Lyndon, the only time I remember him really winning by like proper cruise control was when he fought Dex Spellman, where he just proper bossed him, like jabbed his head off, and that's when Yard sort of got the leftovers of him and managed to stop him that time.
Okay, I remember that fight. Oh yeah, he was in good control. Okay, yeah, I'll give him that one fight. Outside of that, everything is hard work, and it's just yeah. But okay, cool. Well, we can get off of that. I didn't see Matty Harris. I didn't see anything else on that card because again, I didn't even know the card was on. It was just literally I was in the hotel room. I was trying to find some channels because the Chromecast wasn't working at the time. Got it fixed afterwards, and then yeah, just that happened to be on, and I think someone on Twitter said, "Oh yeah, that they've got channel 5 box." I said, "Okay, let me take a look." But yeah, all right. So moving on from that now. Now we had the top rank card, and I've still not been able to see any of the undercard fights. Andres Cortez, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen what's his name? Who else? There was Felix, Floyd Diaz. Haven't seen Floyd Diaz. I didn't see Troy Isley, but that was a fight. I wanted to watch Troy Isley and Javier Martinez. I thought that would be a good fight. But I did manage to see Espinoza versus Chirino, aka what's his name? Sergio Chirino Sanchez. Now that was a very good fight for the 4 rounds it lasted. It was action packed. It was a fight where both guys neglected defense. Both guys are very much used to being the taller guy in the ring. So for Chirino, it was to him, he wasn't used to not being able to pull back in a straight line and evade a shot from his opponent. And also you've got Rafael Espinoza, who's not used to being caught as clean as he was by someone who obviously is not the same height as him, but is at least has a reach that is more comparable to like a super feather, maybe a lightweight as opposed to a featherweight. So each guy was pulling back in straight lines and still getting caught by shots. Then you had pretty much, I think one of the main things for me is the amount of times that Espinoza got hit clean. And I'm not even talking about rolling shots. I'm talking about hit like straight full force shooting through the shot and through the target as well. So I've either got to imagine he's got a great chin, which I'm not sure about because Rabisi Ramirez, was it Rabisi? Yeah, Rabisi Ramirez put him down heavy in their fight in the early rounds, took his legs away. But it's either that or Chirino doesn't have much power because he gave him some full-blooded clots throughout that entire fight, and his head, and he just kept walking forward. And I think that just kind of broke Chirino's heart. He's like, okay, this ain't really gonna happen. This is long. And then every time he's trying to pull back, he's getting caught with that extended reach that he's not prepared for. It was just a long night for him. Even though, if it wasn't for the knockdowns, especially that first one where that little short uppercut came in on the inside, Chirino would have got the first round, and he probably would have got the second as well. Because I was actually scoring those rounds for him. He was landing the bigger, cleaner, more effective shots, but he just couldn't keep Espinosa off of him. I don't know if you saw the fight, but what did you think of it?
No, I didn't watch any of the show, any of the card. Because after the Lyndon one, then I went bed.
I thought you would have looked at it on YouTube because that one fight was on YouTube on Skyboxing.
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't see it. Sorry.
Okay, no, cool. Well, yeah, but if you get a chance, like I said, it's 4 rounds, but it's a very fun fight. It could have, if it wasn't for a fight we'll talk about in a little bit, I could say that would have been fight of the weekend, and it only lasted 4 rounds. But yeah, all right, so cool. So now we've got all of that stuff out of the way. Let's talk about the what we was all up in Brum for, and hence why you're on the stream and Tony's in the background, faffing about doing whatever he's doing. Yeah, I see you, Tony. Right, so which fight do you want to start with first here? Do you want to start with something on the main card? Do you want to start with something on the before the bell? Like, let me know where you want to go, and we'll talk through it that way.
Well, if you don't want to start with anything early, I'll start with the guy one of the guys I came up to see was Mr. Hamza Oudine.
Okay.
So yes, Mr. Hamza Oudine, now 2-0, 1 knockout. Came into Here Comes the Hot Stepper, very Prince Nassim-esque, where Prince Nassim Hamid famously came out to that song when he was fighting in Scotland, came out in a kilt and sunglasses when he fought Sergio Liendo at super bantamweight back in the day. He had quite a good following, so he sold quite a few tickets. Sort of teased to do the flip over the rope, but chose not to. I don't think he's quite that skilled yet to get that over. But he was fighting Julio Commerso, who is naturally 3 weights bigger than him, and that kind of told in the fight as he was landing, big shots, launching uppercuts and hooks and stuff like that, but couldn't really put a dent in Mr. Commerso. Very tough, very broad back. While he was, shimmying, shift and shaping, he was getting caught on the exchanges, which was, he needs to tighten up on his reflexes if he's going to be a reflective fighter. Here you have some little clip footage there, as you see, nice, shots there. You can see very influenced by Prince Nassim Hamid. Even got the tassels going on the boots and the shorts, the little swaying, dipping. You know what I mean? I like that little move there. That's a nice little move. But I had him winning every round, and famously in the 6th round, he leant back on the ropes with both of his hands, both of his arms laid on the ropes, shimmied over to his right. As Commerso walked over to him with his hands down, he launched a massive left hook, which was very good. It would have been better had he have knocked him over, but hey, when a man's 3 weights bigger, he was able to take the shot. But that was a very good ending to the fight, very entertaining, and one I'm definitely looking forward to watching more of in the future.
Yeah, look, I liked what I saw in parts, but even if we look at that clip again, which I will put up, you kind of saw in there, let's see, it was this one here. Like, the thing that I had the issue with, his arms were down every time he shot a shot, his arm at no point ever came back to his chin to respect what's coming back. Now, yes, I know that Commerzo is he's not a strong puncher at all, to be fair. And if he was a strong puncher, there were several times in there where Hamza Oudine would have had his chin properly tested, because he got hit clean on several occasions. But it's just so happens that Commerzo literally, it almost felt like it was a tap. He was literally just tapping him as opposed to trying to throw some weight behind the shots. Now, I will obviously give Oudine some praise, because he did, he is fighting someone 3 divisions heavier than him. But that then also tells me that his power maybe isn't there yet. I'll give him some grace for that, because he's young. He's what, 19, 20? Like, he's still young. So, he hasn't really grown into his man body and his man strength yet. But if I was him, I would be looking to have people for the time being, while I'm learning, like, forget this whole trying to be trying to act, sort of big and bad, or take on anyone. No, take on people that are naturally smaller than you while you're now learning your craft. Because at least that way, like, your punches can have some effect, and you can learn certain things, and you can keep certain range, you can understand your timing, your distance, and you can work on getting those hands back to the chin. Because again, there's several times I was watching that fight, and he got caught with shots, and I'm like, you're lucky the guy doesn't even have like respectable power, because you would either be on the floor or you would be in a crisis at this point. And yeah, that is one thing where he's definitely got to work on that defensive posture, and making sure to keep defense in his mind as well as offense, because the offense is there, the offense is great. But we saw with Amir Khan, his offense was tremendous. It was his defense that let him down, and from it let him down early. That was a character flaw throughout the rest of his career, which unfortunately he could never shake. But outside of that, no, it was a good performance, and it was in stark contrast to the performance of Muhammad Ali, who faced what was his name? I think it was Hero Majid, or Real Madrid. I can't remember the guy's first name, but the Majid guy was like 2-1, and he was like 3-0, I think, at the time, or 4-0. Now that fight, even though I scored it a draw, it was very fortunate that Muhammad Ali was able to get the draw in that fight. And it goes to show something that I've said quite a lot, and that there was a big theme throughout this night. You had these quote unquote, boxers, good people, good punch power selections. Actually, let's not say punch power, but good shot selection, good timings, everything. But they're people that work at a certain pace, and you could just tell that if you had someone on the other side of the ring who knew how to up the pace, or knew how to be consistent and just work consistently minute after minute, round after round, they're going to have a hard night's work. And that was something for him. He just had a hard night's work, because Majid just kept coming forward, shooting shots, staying on his chest, making him work when he didn't want to work. And ultimately, yeah, he was lucky that he sort of swept the first half of the fight, because the second half, he definitely lost that. And he's lucky it wasn't an 8-rounder, because had it have been an 8-rounder, he would have lost the fight, because he just didn't have any energy left to keep Majid off of him, and he probably would have hit the canvas, because he did start to take some pretty clean shots. But yeah, so after that, we ended up with, actually, I want to, rather than do it in chronological, I want to save Ryan and Dolan to next. So let's talk about Cameron Vuong and Jeff Ofori. Now, this fight, I actually watched it, I'll say properly, even though it wasn't like proper, but I did watch it on Sunday evening. I still think, even though, yes, Vuong clearly won the fight, like, I don't have any issues with the decision, I still think him getting a 99-91 scorecard and 98-92 scorecards just weren't reflective of what happened. Yes, he did a lot. He did well in the first half. but he still, to me, gave up some ground in the first half of the fight. But he was struggling in the second. The second half of that fight, he was definitely struggling a bit. He was getting pinned on the ropes. Yeah, he was managing to avoid a lot of shots, but he was ended up eating more shots than he was actually letting out himself, or maybe one or two big counters back, but he's still getting hit with like 3 or 4 shots. So I felt as if them scorecards weren't properly reflective of the fight, and I also knew that being that 135 weight limit was going to be a problem, especially with someone like Jeff Ofori, who, if nothing else, has an engine. He's got gas tank, and he can take a punch, he can take a shot. So if you can't just knock him out and put him down, eventually you're going to have issues. And that's basically what happened with Cameron Vuong. Got tired, and then basically just had to manage out the rounds. How did you see it in terms of, not necessarily saying that we were, because we were both, neither of us were scoring it like, like we scored some other fights, but how did you see it in terms of the sort of the rounds? And did you think the 99, 91 and 98 cards were reflective of the fight or not?
No, I didn't think that was fair scorecards at all, because there was so many long periods where Vuong was trapped on the ropes. Yeah, at first he was sort of working the ropes, landing counter hooks as Ofori was coming in and stuff like that. But he was on the run from the jump. But yeah, fair enough. He was probably picking the early rounds by landing the counters as Jeff walking in. But even from, say, the third round, he got trapped on the ropes for a long period of time, shipping straight rights and hooks. He was trying the shoulder roll, but the shoulder roll wasn't actually working because he was actually getting caught in it still, even though he was maybe dodging a few, but then he was getting caught with quite a few. And as you said, his output wasn't enough to even counteract the shots he was dodging, let alone the ones that was still actually getting through. And then later on in the fight, he was trapped in the corners and on the ropes for such long periods. And there was even a point where I was like, unanswered punches. And he was like, oh, yeah, he threw one. Like, so even you're saying, all right, he's thrown one, but Ofori's like thrown a good 20 shots and say about at least a good 8 have landed in. There's like, come on, like, how are you only giving these scorecards were silly. It was just silly, man. But yeah, they need to pump their brakes with Cameron. Unfortunately, the Jordan Flynn fight is not going to happen, as I spoke to you earlier. You said because he's moving up, and the weights are now they're not going to be seeing each other. So that's a shame that actually didn't come to fruition, because that was a nice little build up going on all year with the pushing and shoving and stuff like that. But yeah, they're gonna have to hold him back and bring him back down a few levels, because I didn't realize how young he is. So that's a problem as well. For he's a fully grown man, and that showed in there. So yeah, he should be fortunate he's got through it. But yeah, it was a tough night's work, and I know he just thought that was a tick over. But yeah, he had a stakeout in there. So yeah, Ofori, I'm sure he'll move on and do his own thing and keep on going. But yeah, those scorecards wasn't very justified at all, in my opinion. I thought they were way too wide.
Okay. Right. Okay. Cool. What I will say, and funny enough, no, I didn't say Real Madrid. I said Real Madrid. But yes, I hear it. I know what it sounded like, but that was funny still. Okay. Let's talk Shannon Ryan versus Emma Dolan for the inaugural super flyweight British Championship and also the Commonwealth Championship for the women's division. Her WBA international title wasn't on the line in this one, the one that she won in the last fight against Jasmina Zapatochna. So I'm assuming she still keeps that belt. But yeah, very interesting fight. I think, like yourself, I think we both scored this fight identically, in the exact same rounds and everything. We were sitting next to each other in the media section. The first thing that you notice about this fight, obviously, is that Shannon Ryan, she's a normal size for this weight division, like super flyweight. She's about 5'2", 5'3", maybe. Emma Dolan is a good sort of 5'6", 5'7", and still manages to sort of make the weight quite comfortably. So the first thing you could tell, there's a massive height advantage, not to mention the fact that Emma is a person that does sort of stand up straight a lot, where Shannon is, you know, got the wide stance, very sort of crouch style, which makes the height difference even more pronounced. So it looks like there's about a 6 or 7 inch height difference between the two of them in the ring. Now in the first round of this fight, I felt that Shannon did well in terms of being able to find the home for the straight right or the looping right hand, managing to get into distance. Sometimes she was able to sort of shoot the jab to be able to find her way into range. But Emma was consistent with her movement, was just pushing that jab out there, making sure that jab comes out. And every time Shannon tried to come in, she would try and shoot the straight through the right. And I said in the breakdown that she would do these things, and Shannon would have to find a way to get on the inside, but not just get there, stay there. However, in the ring, I think we both kind of maybe noticed this, is that for as small and compact and like strong and like a little pocket rocket that Shannon Ryan is, Emma was like a physically strong woman herself, and she was able to sort of lean and kind of use her weight and bully and rough Shannon up on the inside as well. It reminded me a little bit of Tyson Fury against Steve Cunningham, in that they both had, you know, some strengths or whatever, and they had good size and everything, but as soon as it got to the inside, the one was just visibly a lot more sort of like, yeah, just a lot stronger, a lot more willing to be dirty on the inside. You know, leaning on the head, headlocks, pushing down, rabbit punching, all that sort of stuff. But I gave the first round to Shannon. I felt that she landed the stronger, heavier shots. Second round, I was actually giving the round to Emma. I felt that Emma was landing a lot of shots from range. Shannon was finding it hard to break the distance to get on the inside. And I felt, even though, again, she still managed to land some decent shots, Emma did very well at sort of defending and blocking some and then countering them. And then right, obviously, towards the end of the round, I was saying, well, this is a Dolan round anyway on my card. She catches Shannon Ryan with a huge straight right hand down the pipe, which visibly hurt Shannon Ryan. And then she jumps in, and as you can kind of see there, grabs her with one arm, and then with the other arm, she hits her the first times to the side of the head, but then the second and the third, and there may have even been a fourth punch. All of those, one was right way behind the back of the ear. Definitely you would call it a back of the head shot. And then the last one, which took her off her feet, definitely was round the back of the head. So the ref shouldn't have counted it, really. He maybe looked at the punch that took place before all of that and decided that was the one that kind of started it. But yeah, Shannon, obviously, she got up and she stumbled forward while the referee was counting, even though the bell had went, and you thought, oh, could this be an issue? Because normally when they do that little stumble, sometimes the ref will wave it off. But he grabbed her, kind of span her around, and I think the corner told her, no, turn around, you're being counted. And she's looking at the ref, she's clear-eyed at this point, gets back to her stool, and you think, oh, this could be crisis management right about now. Third round, she came out, and I felt that the third round was very close. I will concede, to me it was a swing round, but I felt that she did enough. Again, she landed the better, cleaner shots. Emma was able to time her every time that she was trying to pull out after landing an attack. Every time she was trying to back out, she was sort of getting caught in that moment, and that's where I felt like Emma Dolan was still managing to control some of the, you know, sort of some of the real estate, and was forcing Shannon Ryan to have to basically do a lot of movement. So rather than Shannon trying to hold her ground and push Emma back, she was having to circle around the ring and use up energy just to try and find angles to get in. But I gave her that round. I felt she just nicked it with a couple of cleaner shots and cleaner punches. Fourth round, I thought, was a dominant round for her, in as you can be dominant in this type of fight. I thought it was a clear round, and you even heard in the corner on the broadcast afterwards, which I had seen second, where the team was like, brilliant, that's what we want from you. She's like, yeah, I'm going to do that again. I'm going to do that again, because she had major success in that round. Barely got hit with anything, landed a lot of, again, looping shots, straight shots, some left hooks, some shots on the inside, managed to get in and out. And I felt that was probably her best round at that moment in the fight. Round 5 became a close round, another swing round to me. Emma had some very, very good moments in there. Again, keeping Shannon Ryan at bay. The one thing I think that maybe Emma could have done more is she could have pumped out the jab a lot more when Shannon was on the outside, trying to find ways in, rather than almost just being in a, like, just waiting for the shot. She could have been peppering that jab out and stopping Shannon from even being able to find the entry onto the inside or shooting that right hand. But she didn't do that, which did allow Shannon to get back in, obviously land those shots, again, get hit with some counters coming when she's exiting, but she'd also managed to slip some underneath as well, riding and rolling, more sort of holding and sort of dirty stuff on the inside. Referee broke them up and whatnot. But then round 6, round 7 and round 8 to me was all a straight flush for Emma Dolan. She just started landing the better shots, the more effective work. She was, at that point, she was very much in her ascendancy. Shannon Ryan at the times was looking a bit like she was bereft of ideas. Like, okay, how am I going to get through here? Like, how am I going to work this one out? It's becoming a bit of a, it's becoming a bit sticky. It's becoming a tough fight. And on those points, I had it 4 rounds apiece, but with the knockdown, Emma Dolan was in front. Round 9, I had Shannon Ryan, to me, came back in a major way in round 9. Again, some very hard shots, hard counters. She was first in a lot of the attacks and she was last in a lot of them. She managed to slip and avoid a lot of the straight shots from Emma Dolan and managed to avoid some of the roughhouse tactics as well. So round 9 was a very sort of good shout for her. Then in round 10, which some people gave to Emma Dolan, that I've seen, I don't know. I mean, again, I looked at it when I was live. I saw it afterwards. I thought, no, that was definitely another Shannon Ryan round. Again, Emma Dolan kind of walking forward, having, she's having some success, but this is like the first round in the fight where Shannon Ryan is actually pushing her back. She's pushing her back. She's landing to the body. She's using body attacks to land shots upstairs. And she just felt like the more aggressive and the more effective in that round overall. So I ended up scoring that round to her. So my scorecard ended up being 95-94 to Shannon Ryan, 6 rounds to 4, with obviously the point deduction for the knockdown, which shouldn't have been counted, but it is what it is. Then we get to the scorecards, and one of the judges had it 95-94. I still want to know what rounds that they had. I want to see if we had the same scorecard or not. But then there was a judge that had it 96-93 to Emma Dolan. And I said, you know what? To be fair, I can see it. Because I had, like I said, 2 swing rounds. Round 3 and round 5 to me were swing rounds. If you gave those the other way, fair enough. Then the last judge had it 96-94, which means he had a draw round in there somewhere. Again, I would like to know what round that was. But Emma Dolan ended up getting it via split decision. Most of what I saw online was that Shannon Ryan won that fight. She was hard done by. But that being said, Rob Tebbett, who is quite good at scoring fights and is very effective, someone that I do look in for consultation with. He had it 92-97 to Emma Dolan, which I think is a bit crazy, bit wide, but fair enough. A couple other people I saw had it for Emma Dolan. Danny, if you remember, both you and me, we spoke to Ellie Scottney at ringside, and she said that she had it 96-93 to Emma Dolan as well. So, but she also admitted that it was close. Several other people on by ringside said, no, we thought Shannon got it, but it was one of those fights. This is one of those fights where legitimately anybody could have won, and I don't necessarily have an issue with who got the decision. But yeah, to me, I think Shannon just edged it. But it is what it is, as we like to say. But yeah, what was your thoughts on this one?
Well, it's funny that, as you see there, that the Lee Every guy, he had the scorecard like us, and the guy above him had the scorecard like Ellie. So yeah, but my opinion of it, So how I scored it, round one, I gave to Shannon Ryan. She was landing the nice hooks and stuff like that in a reduced progress like style. Round two, Emma Dolan started getting behind the jab. And then the main thing was, in that exchange toward the end of the round where she started slamming her fist in the side of the head and the back of the tab, rabbit punching, and then a donkey punch at the end, right at the back of the head, which dropped Shannon. Shannon, did wobble. Luckily, she's got strong legs. You can see by the weigh-in and stuff, very muscular and in good shape. So she did manage to recover within the minute. It's a good thing the bell did go because it did look like her equilibrium went from those shots. And as you said, I didn't even think about it like it before, but it does remind me of, if you remember when Tyson Fury versus Steve Cunningham, where he did grab him and just went, rah! Steve Cunningham just went flat out on the floor at the end. Round three, Shannon Ryan managed to get back into it. And that's how I had it 28-28. Round four, Shannon Ryan with good counters. And what I did notice, Emma Dolan's groin guard was mad high. Like, we're talking about Usyk gate and these gates. My God, we need Dolan gate because her groin guard was touching her boob tube. The thing. I was like, wow, that's not above the navel. That's different. I was like, and Base was like, yeah, because if Shannon punches her anywhere on her shorts, that could be deemed a low blow. I was dying. Oh my gosh. No, but it was ridiculous. How the ref didn't admonish her. Her shorts, her groin guard was literally touching the top of her boob tube top thing. Gymshark top, whatever that is, yeah. It was ballistic. So there was no navel showing. I was like, wow, okay. Round five, I gave to Shannon Ryan with combination punches. Dolan's eye started to get quite bruised in there. And then round six, I gave Emma Dolan round six, landing more counters and stuff like that through the middle. Shannon was walking in a bit too straight and pulling out too straight and getting caught with counters as she walks in. And then Emma's, catching her with the straight shots through the middle. Round seven, Emma literally won it on the jab alone. She was literally just peppering her with a jab, landing a jab, constantly landing a jab. Shannon just couldn't really get out of the way of the jab. So Emma won round seven on the jab. Round eight, and this is when I was calling for Shannon Ryan to move to plan B because she was still stuck on this plan A, which wasn't working after a while. After round four, it wasn't really working. So round eight, I gave to Emma Dolan again, controlling the pace, fighting at her range and controlling the distance, landing shots. Round nine, Shannon Ryan finally switched it up to plan B, deciding to come inside and use catch and shoot tactics. Catch, boom. So she finally started, what's that? 31 in the chat. And yeah, guys, hit the like button. Come on now. Hit that like button. There's 20. I know, and what it is, so I know some of you are probably watching on like TV screens, maybe a TV and stuff like that, or a computer. But what you do, you've got your phone in your hand. I know some of you are writing on your phone in the chat. Hit the like button or log in on your phone and hit the like button whilst watching your television, because I'm sometimes guilty of that. I watch these shows on TV, so then you can't actually hit a like button when you're watching on your TV. But then just pick up your phone, quickly log in, hit the like, log out, and then just continue watching on the telly, please, guys. Thank you very much. So yeah, round nine, Shannon Ryan finally switched up to plan B using the catch and shoot tactics, which paid dividends. And then round 10, it was all up for grabs there. And then Shannon Ryan, she's finally started working the body in round 10, which Base was saying she should have been invested in the body from earlier. I remember earlier in the fight you were saying this, and this is something you've actually said to her in an interview on here, funny enough. You've said it on interviews when you've interviewed on here and on your channel about her working the body more. And she said, yeah, it's something she'll be doing. But she finally started working the body in round 10. She landed some big counters and overhand rights over the top. So I scored it 95-94 to Shannon Ryan. But as Base said, all them scorecards, 96, 93, there's so many rounds that were close, and it's what you like really. Do you like the work rate through the middle and the jabs, or do you like the eye catching big punches? Kind of like the next fight we're probably going to talk about. I imagine it's one of those ones as well. So yeah, I have no issue with her. She's a lot stronger than she looks, and a lot better technically sound than you might think she does. She looks better in real life than on TV.
Definitely. And big, like I said, big congrats to Emma Dolan. What I will say, yes, with regards to the bodywork, did you notice in that 10th round, Shannon, even with the bodywork, but she was backing Emma up, and she actually had Emma on the back foot in the 10th round, whereas every other round, Emma was holding center ring, like, all right, come to me. Let's see what you can do. That one time hit her to the body, all of a sudden, like she's on her bike a little bit. And that was a frustration to me, because I know that Shannon's got that in there. But again, maybe we give her some grace for the, the whole groin guard and and the top and all of that stuff. But yeah, I'm sure she'll work. I'm sure she'll work on that. I did see her after the fight. Obviously, I spoke to her after the fight, and we was talking about it. And like she put on her social media, look, there's it's every setback is made for a great comeback and whatnot. And I still think that she can do the business. I would love to see a rematch of this fight, especially with maybe, because while I had Emma winning the second round, maybe to other people she wasn't. Maybe they had Shannon winning that round and Emma winning maybe a different one. So would it have been the same if it wasn't for that 10-8, which obviously is very contentious? So it would be nice to see if they run it back. I don't think Emma's with a big promoter. So, I mean, maybe, Eddie Hearn may sign her, but maybe there may be money for her in that rematch to do it again on another show. I definitely would be keen to see it. But yeah, congrats to both women. Emma deserves praise, because it definitely wasn't a job-ins or a robbery or anything like that. This was a legit close fight. Commiserations to Shannon, who I do think did enough, and that's even me taking any bias I have out of it, because you know me, I don't like to let my bias influence my scorecards. I like to be integral. But yeah, both women deserve massive respect, and it was a fun fight. It was I would say it was the second. I reckon it was the second best fight on the card. Personally,
yeah, it was it was fight of the night up until that point.
And then let's talk about, and even though realistically I should make this the last fight we talk about, but I want to give Tyler his respect, and we'll discuss that in a moment. But undoubtedly, fight of the night, fight of the weekend, fight of the month, possibly even fight of the year. Lewis Crocker versus Conor Walker. Jeez, this fight here, I knew this was going to be, and the funny thing is, I knew this fight was going to play out the way it played out, but I just didn't think it would be as emotionally draining, as high octane. I thought the pace would be a bit more deliberate than it actually was. But no, like, Conor Walker, basically, he just said, you know what? If you think that you're going to come to my ends, or in and around my ends, I know technically, Brahman, Black Country, there's a little bit of separation there, but he's like, no, this is my city. I don't care how big you think you are. Like, let's see what you've really got. Like, let's see if you've got the kind of heart I've got. And shout out to Lewis Crocker, because he showed that he's got heart. But I guarantee you, and I'm quite happy to say this in all shapes and forms, like, if this was a 12-rounder, Crocker would have been stopped round 11, because he was pretty much done after round 7. He didn't have much left. The fact he managed to make it through rounds 8, 9, and 10 was incredible in itself. But he wouldn't have been able to survive the distance, because Conor Walker sets a pace and he is unrelenting. And he wasn't throwing a lot of hard shots either. Well, they were hard, but he wasn't like putting a lot of effort and gusto into the shots. He was just consistently shooting shots, trying to fight around the guard, trying to find his openings. And when he found his openings, he found them, and he found them strong. Now, I had funny thing is, I scored the fight how I scored in the night, and I'll tell you guys how I had it scored in a moment. When I watched it back on TV, there's one round where, and that's the first round, where I said, all right, you can potentially score this round a draw, or if you really wanted to, you could give it to Lewis Crocker. So round one, initially I had to Conor Walker. I had round 2 to Conor Walker. I had round 3 to Lewis Crocker. Had round 4 to Conor Walker. Had round 5 to Conor Walker. Round 6, I had to Conor Walker. Then I think it's round 7, I think I scored to Lewis Crocker, or I had round 7 a draw, and then round 8 I scored to Crocker, and then rounds 9 and 10 I scored to Conor Walker. But with the point deduction that he suffered and the draw round, I ended up having the fight 93-97 to Conor, which is basically 7 rounds to Conor, 2 rounds to Lewis, and then 1 round even. And it just played out a very familiar pattern throughout the entire fight. You had in the first round, you'd have Lewis Crocker, he's tucking up, he's waiting for his opportunity, then he wants to throw like big haymakers. Some of them land, some of them get blocked, and they do visibly they trouble Conor Walker, but not enough to knock him off his stride, because even if he takes half a backward step, he just comes straight back forward. There's just no relenting, and he was just like that. Second round, he just he just outworked and just dominated Crocker. Third round is when Crocker started actually being a bit more active with the front hand, the jab. He started landing some pretty big, strong shots as well. But round 4, Conor Walker just back to the same thing, just outworking him. Crocker resorting to the odd pot shot here and there, but it just wasn't really enough to take the rounds for me. Round 5, same thing. Round 6 was the same thing, and then it was only round it might have been round 6 or round 7 where Crocker started working a bit harder in the fight to get some success back. And then I think round 7 is the round where I think you said, Danny, that this is he's throwing his last stand, almost like he's going to get stopped the next round, because I think he won that round, or he got a draw in that round on my scorecard. But it was like, yeah, it's almost like he's just throwing the last bit of his engine at the fight, and he's not really going to have much left. But to his credit, obviously, round 8, he managed to soak up pressure and survive. Round 9, and then round 10, he just literally at times, he was just swinging with his head down. Like we're talking old school in the playground fighting, just head down. You can't see where the guy is, feet planted, just throwing bolo shots over the top, hoping something lands. But yeah, it was an amazing fight to watch. And I definitely think they need to run it back, because to me, the wrong person won that fight. I feel like there was a lot of, because they had the Paddy Donovan fight pretty much already signed-ish, he got consideration that he shouldn't have got. And that's not to say that he didn't have his moments, but yeah, to me, it was a clean and clear victory for Conor Walker. And as I said, I had it 93-97 to him, and that's with a point taken off and the draw round. To me, I feel like he pretty much dominated the entire fight, and I feel bad that he got given the L that he didn't deserve, in my opinion. I called it a robbery, and I don't use that word often, but to me, this was a robbery. This wasn't it's a close fight, it's what you like. No. He outpunched Crocker about 8 or 9 rounds out of the 10. He kept on, he pushed him back every single fight, every single round. So he was the ring general. He was the workhorse. He landed the bigger shots. Well, he landed the more shots. And even the shots that you say that, if you say Crocker landed the heavier shots or the bigger shots, they didn't have any effect. So they can't have been the bigger shot if they didn't have any visible effect. So that in itself balances it back out. And to me, as I said, it was just that was a stone cold robbery to me. Conor Walker deserved that fight. He deserves to be onto bigger and better things. But Lewis Crocker got the rub of the green, and I'm interested to see what they do next. But yeah, they can't go their careers without running that fight back, in my opinion. What did you think?
Yeah, first of all, shout out to October Red in the chat. Much appreciated, and love for joining us inside and everybody else inside the building. Yes, this fight was amazing. I could tell from the weigh-in. I was there yesterday, they were talking. You could see they're very fully charged up. So I thought, yeah, it's going to be a nice little tear up. But it ended up being better than I thought. The first round I gave to Lewis Crocker, sorry. He landed a big booming overhand on the forehead of Walker, which Walker did seem to walk through, but it was a big shot. And I just thought that he did enough to win the first round. The second round, I gave to, I think, Crocker as well, because I wasn't scoring it, remember. But I remember after about 4 rounds, I had Lewis Crocker up. And then he was like, really? I think you had Walker up or something like that. And so, yeah. But then from the second half, Walker definitely started taking over. You could see the body shots was taking an effect on the long body of Crocker. And yeah, Crocker was on the back foot, taking a lot of shots. Yeah, Walker he doesn't punch as hard as Crocker, but it's all persistent and, it's just hitting. And the thing is, he's hitting, it's the cumulative effect of him hitting you everywhere. He's hitting you head, body, head, shoulders, knees, toes, elbows, shoulders, neck. He's hitting you everywhere. You cannot. He's just giving you measles with his punches, basically. So Crocker, he was definitely. I know in the morning his body was aching, and then even, and you said in the 7th round he threw this big barrage of big shots, which a lot of people would have went down from, but Walker's got such a good chin and durability. He was able to take those shots, and I was like, wow, that was the last hurrah from Crocker. And then Walker started, backing him up, hitting him with shots, and I was like, yeah, he's going to get stopped. He's going to get stopped, or if he doesn't get stopped, he's going to get stopped in the next round. And then the 8th round, Walker was proper on top of him, and then the 9th round is when it just all hell broke loose, and they both just started standing there punching away. Then the ref went and spoiled the fight, really, by taking a point off of Walker for what wasn't a low blow. As you can see, Crocker's shorts
I think he took the point off in the 6th or the 7th. It wasn't in the 9th. It was earlier than that.
You sure?
Yeah, it was early. He took the point off of him early. I think it was like the 6th or the 7th round.
The 9th round, deducted in the 9th round. It was that round where it all went mad. That was it. It was the 9th round. I'm looking on BoxRec now. It was the 9th round, and he just gave it. He took a point off when he hit him on the waistband. As you can see, the waistband's very big on Crocker, and he hit him on the waistband on the Croc sign, and he's just took a point off. The crowd's gone boo, like everyone. He's lucky he didn't get rushed, but yeah, then they both started going hell for leather, and I would have given it to. I thought Walker won the round because when you're talking about just literal trading, Walker's always going to come off best when you're talking about just all out shots landed. If you're talking about CompuBox numbers, but because the point off, I had to score it 9-9, and then the 10th round I gave to Walker again. He was on top. I didn't because I wasn't scoring it, because normally I score it on Twittex, but I wasn't actually scoring it because I didn't start early enough. I just thought there's no point in me scoring, otherwise it's going to just look a bit jagged. But I thought Walker did enough to win by a couple of rounds, and yeah, those scorecards 96-93 times 2 to Crocker, I just couldn't see it really, and most people in the crowd, everyone was sort of upset about that with the result, the way the ref handled it. He even wanted to try and take a point off in the last round, the ref. Again, he gave him a stern warning, like he was just about to, and then he thought about it and he thought, oh, better not. So yeah, he was really trying to job Conor Walker up in there, that I felt, and that wasn't good.
And you know what? Funny enough, right? You see that you was talking, that you said, you thought that you had it like 3-1 up to Crocker after 4 rounds. So I watched the broadcast, and Paddy Donovan, who was being interviewed by Jamie, he said after 4 he had it 3-1 to Walker. And then when they interviewed him again, I think at round 7, I think it was either round 6 or round 7, possibly even round 8, he goes, I've got Walker up by about like 3 or 4 points here. Like, to me, Crocker is just he's not doing enough. Tony Bellew said the exact same thing. He's like, there's no way that Lewis Crocker won that fight. You can't get pushed around for 10 rounds and outlanded in 8 of the 10, and somehow still win the fight without a knockout. I think Barry Jones might have given it to Crocker. Ade was sitting on the fence, you know. Ade doesn't want to give his opinion. But no, pretty much every person, and again, every judge, everyone I saw had the fight to Conor Walker. Maybe with maybe the exception of one person I see online. So yeah, like I said, I when the people are, you know, it's a close fight. To me, I'm saying it wasn't close. This was to me, it was a clear fight. Even if, again, you had, say you did have it 3-1 to Lewis Crocker after 4 rounds. Well, he clearly didn't win 2 rounds after the 4th. Like, if anything, you might say he won 1 at best, right? But in the other 5 rounds, they're dominant. So, all right, you might then say, fine, 95, 94 with the point deduction. That's the only way you could maybe give him an out. But that's to suggest that he won 3 of the first 4 rounds, which, if you just look at, again, CompuBox stats and everything else, it's impossible to give him that. At best, absolute best, out of those first 4, you can give him 2. And then out of the next 6, at best, you can give him 2. and that's being generous on both accounts. But yeah, like I said, I don't usually call robbery, but this one to me definitely was one. Again, I still feel bad for Conor Walker, but luckily, because he's not a guy that's necessarily caring about the O or the wins, he just cares about the fights and having good fights and giving his heart and soul in there. Eddie Hearn said afterwards, and I think he may have even said it around the interview you done. He said, "Look, I guaranteed him he will be back. Like, you can't have a fight like that and then just get it discarded. Like, he's coming back to a show as soon as we can get him an opponent, and it might be the rematch." So yeah, I was happy to hear that, at least. But right, okay, so let's talk about the main event. And as even though the actual official decision, as his fans had it 1, 2, 3, 6, and 7 to Walker and shared 9 due to the point deduction. Fans who? What fans?
Must have been the interactive. You know, they put the barcode.
No, but the Sky do that, but the Zone don't do that. I don't see, unless they do, like, maybe in the fan, you know, like they might do the live watch along on the fan stream, and maybe people have got it in there. But I guarantee you, those fans, if that's what they said or that's what they was doing, those fans don't know what they was watching. I'm sorry, but what was I looking at? Yeah, let's talk about Tyler real quick, and then Tony can come out of the shadow realm and he can actually give his thoughts on the card rather than interjecting. Shout out to Cuz in the building. I see you, Cuz D'Amato. Now, yeah, officially, even though it comes down as a technical decision, this was a clear and clean stoppage. We all saw the punch that landed in the second round, which split the eye of Felix Cash. And yes, there was head clashes afterwards, which exacerbated the cut. But we saw where the punch was, where it came from initially. And I was the only person who predicted that Tyler Denny was going to win the fight via KO, and I even put a bet on it. Now, obviously, my bet kind of got mashed up from flipping Lyndon Arthur the day before, but I put in the bet it would be a KO. He would KO Felix Cash. Now, I thought it would be later on in the fight because I thought, rounds 9, 10, 11, Cash is going to be hanging on for dear life. He's got no energy left, and he's just going to be, getting peppered. Teams either going to pull him out in the corner, or they might throw the towel. Ref might wave it off. That's how I kind of saw it. I did think there was a potential, could maybe get some cuts in there, but I had the feeling he'd stop him, and that's exactly what he did. Round 1, I gave to Felix Cash. I felt he was the sharper of the two in round 1. Looked like he was landing the harder, more effective shots as well. Tyler didn't really have much success in the first round, but he stayed with him and stayed busy, which is something that I kind of expected him to do anyway. But from round 2, the work rate dropped immensely from Felix Cash, especially once that shot came in, and Tyler just started to take over from that round, and Felix Cash was just resulting to pot shots from round 2 onwards. He was, a couple shots here, maybe a tie up here and there, look and complain at the ref about certain things from time to time, and you could just see from there, writing was on the wall. And I even wrote on one of the tweets that I put out, I think it was at the end of the 2nd round or possibly in the 3rd. I said Felix Cash is already uncomfortable with the pace of this fight. I could see it from ringside, and it's funny because Tyler said in several interviews afterwards he was tired, he was knackered from the 2nd round on. So it wasn't just me. I thought, oh, maybe. And then in the I think it was either the 3rd round or the start of the 4th, where after I've put out this tweet, all of a sudden Felix Cash is there he's bouncing up and down like he's full of life, and I'm for, oh, you're trying to make my tweet irrelevant. But then we saw what we saw afterwards, where he's still trying to steal moments and he's just not working. And Tyler Denny's just going to work. He's clearly got the engine, and at this point he's not worried about the size difference between the two of them. With that lower center of gravity, he's just got his shoulder pretty much in Cash's rib cage, in his sternum, just kind of pushing him back, keeping him pinned on the ropes time to time. And then obviously right towards the end of the round, after hitting Cash with a big, it was like a corkscrew jab off of the right hand. He also caught him with a decent left hand, a backhand as well. But then they're in a bit of an exchange. Tyler comes over the side with the right. Then obviously, as he's swinging, the head does sort of clash a little bit to the face, but the big left hand hook comes in over the top and stuns Felix Cash, just stuns him in place, to the point where you think, oh, Tyler's about to get him out of here. But Cash did well to kind of smother and get and sort of, just basically ride it out until the end of the round. In round 5, 20 seconds of round 5, couple punches come in. Ref separates them, sees Felix Cash's eye, calls for the doctor, and the doctor says, "Yeah, we can't let him continue with the cut where it is. You gotta take that. You gotta call the fight off." So obviously at that point, Tyler Denny thinks that the fight's his. So he's in euphoria, down on his knees in the middle of the ring, up on the ropes, and then you see the ref mouth to him on the broadcast, "It's going to points," and then he looks at her, and then even Adam Booth says, "Yeah, it's getting to decision," and he's like, he looks like, "Yeah, like you won." I saw him mouth something like that in the on the broadcast when I watched it back. I found that funny. But then, when we got to, because none of us knew that at the time because we don't hear the broadcast in the arena. Then when you hear, "Oh, dude, cut caused by a head clash," and we're going to a technical decision, and we're all looking around like, what? So then I've had to change the tweet that I wrote out there. Stopped in the 5th. I'm the one, I predicted the stoppage. Whether, oh, okay, I spoke too soon. It's actually gone to technical decision. I think that's a horrible, despite everyone seeing the shot go in, but blah blah blah. Tyler Denny wins, etc. etc. So great performance by Tyler. I might do it on my stream because I'm actually gonna have Tyler on the casual stream on Thursday this week. It won't be tomorrow, it'll be Thursday. And I may reveal what I said to Tyler Denny on the day of the press conference after I had an interview with him. I did allude to it when we was doing the post-fight press conferences back in the changing rooms. But I might tell the people what I said to him. But I know what I said to him at that press conference resonated because he even said to me afterwards, like, "Yeah, you was right." So but outside of that, well, congratulations, flowers to Tyler Denny. Look, he is the definition of coming up the hard way, no easy fights, doing basically getting it from the mud, all the way from losing an English title fight to now being a reigning European champion, bypassing the British level. He don't even care about that belt no more. Look, I defend the European. I'm clear past that. Give me the big fights now. This is for me. This is for the family, etc. And got to tip your hat off to him. So yeah, big congrats, big salute. What did you think of the fight and how it played out?
Yeah, shout out to Tyler Denny. So yeah, Felix Cash came in, with the money talks. That was a good little song, a nice one. Tyler Denny came in with his traditional Sean Paul. Infiltrate. You know what I mean? Big tune, that one. He was really like getting into it, like when he got onto the ring, the walkway, like so you could see he was proper pumped up. I was a bit concerned the way he let Felix just push him like some boy at the weigh-in wet because he went flying. But that was mad. But I thought that. But I've always said from February when the rumors of that fight happened, I even presented it to Frank Smith at the AJ Ngannou thing, and he was like, "Oh, that's some rumor. That's not happening." But then obviously the fight did end up happening. I always felt Tyler Denny would win. I said he would win on points. But yeah, to be fair, it was a stoppage. So here's how I had it. So in the first round, I gave that to Felix Cash, using a lot of rough stuff, a lot of rough house tactics. But it landed the cleaner punches. It was rough, a lot of tangling. But yeah, Felix Cash won with the cleaner work. Second round, Denny cut him on the inside with landed a good double right hook from his southpaw stance, and also hurt Felix Cash in Cash's corner with a body shot, right hook to the ribs that hurt Felix. In the third round, a big left hook hurt Cash, who then started complaining to the ref and resorting to a lot of holding, surprisingly. And that's when I thought, oh, this is he's in a lot of trouble here. He's moaning so early doors, showing distress signals. For a man who was so big and bold and confident, he's now, you can see he's showing distress signals. So that's never a good sign. In the fourth round, Tyler Denny rocked Felix Cash with a big left hook. We saw, a head did connect and then a big left hook, but Tyler Denny had already cut him with a left hook on the inside in the second round. And in the fifth round, nothing was really happening. And the ref brought Cash to the corner. Cash started shaking his head, saying, from what I saw his mouth saying something about he can't see. He could see, but I think he just wanted out of there, really. And then it was like the ref waved it off, and then straight away. But then no one started cheering yet. But we looked up on the Titantron thing, and then it showed the replay of where they come inside and Tyler hit him with a hook, and then Cash put his glove over his eye, like he knew automatically his eye burst, and then straight away. So that sort of signified to us that it was a punch. And then that's when Tyler's gone mad. He's hitting the knees on the floor and doing all that, and everyone's going ballistic. And then I was like, you've done it. I was like, Base, you was right, Base Stradamus, because even Ra Hockham was calling, saying that Base, he's been calling all the fights right, from the Lewis Crocker thing about Crocker fading down the stretch. And I was like, oh, you watch Basis Picks? He was like, yeah, so people, in the media section, they're tuned into Basis Picks. So make sure if you want to make a couple of quid, make sure you tune into Basis Picks for a couple of tips here and there. So so we're waiting for it to be announced, by TKO or whatever. Then it's by because of head clash, the ref stopped the fight, no position to continue. We're like, what? And then, but we all knew that Denny, there's no way Cash was ahead in the fight. And then, he won on technical decision, which is a bit annoying because really his record should show 3 TKOs, and he's done them all on, cutting people. He got the same thing happened to him in the River Wilson Bent fight, where they scored it a technical draw, but he cut him blatantly. You saw on the replay with a punch as well. So he obviously hits a lot harder than his record suggests. People don't tend to walk through his punches. He's cemented himself as a legitimate European champion. Defended it against the former British and Commonwealth champion who is undefeated in Felix Cash. Who destroyed Denzel Bentley. He beat Brad Pauls, who people say he won that fight against Nathan Heaney last time out. Hence, they're going to have a rematch. So he's past British level. So he's looking for the big fights, and I'm really happy for him because I remember when I interviewed him, over a year ago, and then he started getting other interviews afterwards. But his story and journey, even Base said that, he's like the bastard child of boxer. So, but I think now Ben Shalom's seen this guy. He's done that crossover thing. He was like, do you know what it reminded me of? Tyler Denny is like the Bob Marley of boxing right now. He got Edward Seaga and Norman Manley in the ring to shake hands. It was like that. If you watch that picture, that's what it looked like. Mad, innit? And he got them to, now they're in talks to start doing deals. So in the annals of history, Tyler Denny is a pivotal moment of getting Boxer inside the dance. Remember, they was outside the rave, you know, and Tyler Denny has said, yo, security. Yeah, even funny enough, Ben Shalom brought security. My brother, big fleet. But no.
But no, funny. Remember you said that though. Remember when I said that that's the only reason they even went into that purse bid, because they don't rate Tyler the same as they rate the other guys. But he's the only one that's actually gone out and done business for them. Out of everyone that they signed, he's the only one producing. It's crazy.
Exactly. The man you sleep on. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, so big ratings to Tyler, man. That's my brother. And yeah, man, I'm happy for him. I hope he enjoys his up and coming thing. I'm sure he mentioned to Base on his channel what his plans going forward or whatever. But yeah, man, I love it.
All right. Well, look, as you guys can see, Tony has decided to pop his head in after doing whatever he's been doing backstage. Tony, give us your thoughts of the weekend, whatever you did or didn't see. Go through. Let's have a little quick 5 or 10 minute roundup of your opinions.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. As always, my major thanks to Danny for coming in to the show. I didn't step out, but I realized, obviously, I had dinner with Danny on Friday night up in Birmingham, as explained at the start of the show. I came back down to London. Danny stayed up and joined Base ringside to watch the fight. So I consider today the fact that obviously Danny was with fighters. He had interviews with fighters before and after during the week running up to. He's very good friends with Tyler Denny. There's an excellent interview with Tyler on Danny's channel. If you haven't seen it, go see it. It's called The Neutral Corner. And so it seemed clear to me that Danny and Base today would make a good 1-2 to describe what they saw ringside, because it makes a difference. You know, me seeing all those fights on TV, I've got my own impression, but those guys are ringside and they get a much better feeling for how those fights went and, you know, the sort of ambiance of what was going on and how people felt in and around the arena. So my own feelings were excellent card overall. I thought there was, you know, I actually got to see some of the before the bell portion. Some of those fights looked quite interesting as well. Crocker versus Walker for me goes up to British fight of the year so far. I thought it was an absolutely enthralling battle that went to and fro. It was, I didn't actually score it at the time, so I wasn't really invested in like which person won, but obviously it was very close. And as I put in the chat, the point deduction in round 9 was hugely significant, because that I felt was the reason that Crocker won. I think it was that close. Outside of that point, it could have been a draw. Probably should have been a draw. I thought both combatants had equal amount of rounds. You know, overall, I didn't see Walker having significantly more rounds than Crocker. But I thought it was an entertaining fight, very much for the whole thing. You could have still been there, Tony. No, I couldn't have been. I had other arrangements that I had paid for in advance.
No, he means you could have been here on the stream. That's what he said. You could have been here.
I've been here the whole time from minute
Yeah, he
one.
meant on camera, not behind the scenes.
Oh, okay. But, you know, as I said, I looked at the show and thought, you know what? The 1-2 punch looked really good to me. I didn't think the hook was needed. So I'm just coming on late doors to give my rundown. As far as Tyler Denny was concerned, excellent performance from Tyler. He rode the storm that Felix Cash came with early doors. Then when Cash ran out of gas, he just turned up and started to clot him down. You know, I noticed of late people have started using the word clot. You guys used it some point earlier in the stream. Spencer Fearon used it recently in one of his streams. So it seems to be a thing that, you know, when you start taking a beat down, you're getting clotted. I know my good friend Clyde Gordon, who's in the chat, that's one of his phrases from way back in the day. He used to use that word. And yeah, it was literally a case of Tyler Denny was clotting the hell out of Felix Cash and ripping him up from, you know, from where he was, and obviously tore up the eye. Shannon, obviously we've had a lot of vested interest in Shannon. You know, it was disappointing to see her lose to Emma, but you know, credit to Emma, she did what she had to do. She came in prepared, she had good camp, and basically, you know, Shannon has to go away and readdress her shortcomings now. But good luck to Emma Dolan. She's put herself on the map, and you know, can now be talked about with greater aplomb, and hopefully she'll get some good shots at good fights down the road as a result of this one. Who else? Hamza, Oudine. Yeah, I'm very reserved, like, based on that one. Not gonna start shouting him up for a little while. Lyndon Arthur, that was awful. That was putrid. That was just it was just an awful fight to watch. And quite frankly, he's so far down the pecking order for me in terms of, you know, crowd attractiveness, that, you know, he's down with like your Shakan Pitters right now, and even Shakan to me is more entertaining. So I'm not sure where he goes from now, but we shall see. The Chirino fight, that was a very entertaining fight for the 4 rounds that we saw, and yeah, destruction. I must admit, didn't know too much about either of the two fighters, but I'm excited to see more of Chirino going forward. Where else is there?
Well, I want to give a quick good shout out to a couple of good performances on the undercard as well. In Emmanuel Odiasi with a good KO over Kevin Matarika. That was a very good KO. Good to see him actually, you know, really sitting down his punches, because in February at the Next Gen show, he really kind of laboured to a points victory, and I thought, come on, you're a heavyweight, you're not really showing me much here. But on Saturday, he really got a nice KO there. Also, the controversial spider in Ibrahim Suleiman, but he did have a good performance on Saturday night in dropping Jesus Gonzalez in the first round, and the second round, good body shot, and then also a good flurry there. He's got the spider hairdo now. He's really going for it now. Yeah, and his manager JK really pumping him up, moving like Cam Jones up in there.
Danny, speaking of Spider Solomon, did you hear what Eddie said after the event? Was you there when he was talking about that?
Nah.
Okay, so basically, I'm not sure if now I didn't hear when Spider said this. It might have Solomon. He might have said this in an interview or something. But he basically is like, yeah, you know, I'm gonna see what Matchroom are offering. I'm gonna, like, you know, go around, see who's got the bag, and we'll make our decision. And someone said, oh, so Eddie, like, he said that he's gonna, you know, listen to the offers. He goes, Eddie said, no, we will not be bidding for Ibrahim Solomon. Like, he's a good guy. Like, we will make an offer, and if he accepts the offer, then he could be a Matchroom. If not, then good luck. I was like, yo, Eddie is standing on business. You don't play them. You can't have a couple little knockover jobs. I think that you're running things. I was like, nah, Eddie's on job. When I heard that in the interview, I was like, nah. Eddie went dark. Yeah, you could see, you know, when he didn't even have the smile on his face like he normally has, like it might be a joke. No, he was serious. No, yeah, he's a good talent, but we will not be entering no bidding war. Like if you either take our offer or you don't.
Yeah, no, I think. Yeah. He's trying to do a thing where someone else does, but he didn't. Yeah, well, I won't even name them, but yeah, he tried that. But yeah, Eddie, I like that. Standard on business, and talk about standard on business. We've got a great fight coming up, which was announced on the show in Jack Catterall versus Regis Prograis Rigaroo up in Manchester at the Co-op Live Arena, the new 23,000 capacity indoor arena in Manchester. So I'm sure myself and Base will look to go up there and see the ribbon cutting of boxing up in there. That'll be interesting too.
All right, look, we've got, if there's any last comments from either of you, Tony, Danny, yourselves, we can put the socials out there and then we can get going.
One last quick one. I don't think we mentioned it, but big shout outs and heartfelt condolences go out to the family of Roy Jones Jr. He unfortunately lost his son DeAndre yesterday or Saturday. We only found out yesterday. But yeah, big, at this time, when a man is grieving, in our community, we always send the love. So big up to Roy. Blessings to your family. Hope we can overcome this one, because it's tough when you lose your children. We don't expect to be burying our children.
Indeed, condolences to my fellow Capricorn, one of the greatest to ever do it. Yeah,
Condolences.
All right, Tony, give them your socials. Let them know where they can find you.
Guys and girls, catch me at the Pugilistboy on Twitter, X, and YouTube. On Instagram, it's Pugilistic Boy. That's where most of my content can be found.
Danny, thank you very much for jumping in today. Give them your socials.
I don't mind. I'm the supply teacher, the substitute teacher, but yes, you can find me on Instagram and YouTube. Subscribe on FightfanTV Live on YouTube, Instagram FightfanTV Live, TikTok FightfanTV Live, Twittex Dani Glover FFTV.
Good stuff, and I'll add the TikTok on there for the next time that you make an appearance, because I'm sure you will be here. And as for me, you guys can find me at BaseDaKID, the hardcore casual, on YouTube. I should have some pre-made footage out tomorrow. It is actually it's my godson's birthday tomorrow, but it's also my mum's birthday tomorrow, so I will be out and about, as well as this potential press conference that is taking place. So I've got a very full day, but yes, there should be some footage and stuff out on my channel tomorrow, or maybe an episode. We'll see. Might record one after this. The casual stream will take place on Thursday this week, and I will have Tyler Denny on the casual stream. So anyone wants to make up for that interview which got lost on Saturday after the post fight, feel free to come through, and we can have a nice in-depth talk on there. On Instagram, I'm on BaseDaKID. But again, don't go on Instagram if you're looking for the boxing stuff. I made a boxing Instagram, but for some reason it won't connect to my account, so I haven't got the time to figure it out at the minute. TikTok, BaseDaKID.thc. And yeah, everything else is BaseDaKID. Twittex is B_A_S_E, but you could just type in BaseDaKID and I'm sure it's the first one that pops up. But yeah, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for obviously being in attendance. Daniel, have you got something you want to say?
Yes, guys. Be on the lookout this week. I should be dropping the next episode of the Neutral Corner podcast, which we have Ade on the grey chair, on the Chester. So yeah, look out for that. A big interview with Ade Oladipo on the Neutral Corner. So make sure you subscribe to FightfanTV Live and you will catch that this week dropping.
Everyone's out here doing big things. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your night. Have a good one. And until next week, we will catch you then. But stay safe, all right? Peace.